Reporting live from Hunter Heald headquarters, you are watching the #1 rated sports show on the entire internet. And most of you have work off today because today is Monday, May 31st, 2021, and it's Memorial Day. So spend time with your family, eat burgers and hot dogs, and remember why we're celebrating the day. For all the great soldiers that lost their lives in war fighting for our freedom. So look, these past 3 days, these games did not treat my predictions well at all. Starting off with Friday's games, I did actually have the Hawks beating the Knicks in Game 3. Despite Derrick Rose dropping 30 points on their heads, Trae Young had 21 and 6 other players scored in double digits. That's what I predicted. I predicted the Hawks' first game back, they'll take care of business, which they definitely did. So as of Friday, that series was 2-1 in favor of the Hawks. Going on to that next game on Friday, the Celtics ended up upsetting the Nets. That was the first game I got wrong since predicting. I was 10-0 to that point. That one hurt because that was a very big upset. But every single time I predicted one of those games, I said, in order for the Celtics to win, Jason Tatum will have to have 50 or 60 points. Jason Tatum has 50 points and the Celtics end up winning. In a way, I know my prediction was wrong, but in a way, I was right. So, I was right. All right, and that night game on Friday was another L for me. The LA Clippers. The LA Clippers ended up beating the Mavericks in Game 3, so they got a game which made that series 2-1 in favor of the Mavericks. Paul George and Kawhi did what they were supposed to do, did what they were brought there to do. They combined for 65 points. Luka had 44, but that wasn't enough for the Mavericks to beat the Clippers that game. So the Clippers ended up getting a game in Dallas and making the series 2-1. Moving on to Saturday's games. The first game of the day was the Milwaukee Bucks in South Beach to take on the Miami Heat. And that series is over. There will be no more games between those two teams. The Heat suck. The Heat were a bubble team. Tyler Hero is trash. It blows my mind that the Miami Heat did not want to trade Tyler Hero, out of all people on their team, for James Harden when he was looking to be traded from Houston. I think in hindsight that was a terrible idea, but it serves them right. They got swept out of the first round. I don't think many people saw this coming, but after Game 2, it was pretty evident that this was going to be a sweep. Again, the Heat had it for first 2.5 quarters, and then they just blew it. And the Milwaukee Bucks will be moving on to play either the Nets or the Celtics. They will be on a week bye. Oh, they will have a week in between their two games, in between their last round 1 game and their first round 2 game. So whether that's a good or a bad thing for the Bucks, we'll have to see. The next game that day was the Trailblazers playing the Nuggets in Portland. Like I said, Trailblazers would take this game. It wasn't a close game at all. The Nuggets looked completely lost. Jokic didn't have a good game. Nobody stepped up, and Damian Lillard didn't have a good game either. But his pieces on the Trailblazers, they stepped up. Norman Powell had a good game. McCollum had a good game, and they didn't let up. They got out to a lead and kept it for the rest of the game. The third game of Saturday was the 76ers in D.C. to take on the Wizards. In doing so, they ended up taking a 3-0 lead. This series is over. This is going to be a sweep. The Wizards don't really stand a chance. They didn't from the beginning, and 3 games down, they don't at the end. And the final night game for Saturday was Utah Jazz traveling to Memphis in Game 3. And they ended up winning, and they take home court back. So, Game 4 will be in Memphis, and with the Jazz up 2-1 in that series. Moving on to Sunday's games. The first game of the day, Knicks in Atlanta, and the Hawks, they ended up winning, and they took a 3-1 series lead. Do I see the New York Knicks coming back from this series? No. Am I ruling out the possibility? No. This series might very well be over, but if any team still remaining could blow a 3-1 lead, I think it would be the Hawks. This is just due to inexperience. I could see them saying, "Oh, we're up 3-1. Yeah, it'll be easy. We just got to win one more game." And then they say they lose game 5, so 3-2. We still have a chance to lose game 6. 3-3. All right, we just got to win game 7. Game 7 back in New York City, and they could lose. But do I see that happening? No. I think the Hawks will end up moving on. But as far as playing the Sixers, I don't think they'll get to the conference finals. The next game of that day was the Phoenix Suns in LA for the second game in Staples Center, and the Phoenix Suns won the game. Anthony Davis ended up going out with a leg injury. His status for Game 5 is unknown. If he doesn't come back, this might be the Suns winning the series, but I don't think it's a very good idea to bet against LeBron James, especially in the first round where he's never lost a series. So with that being said, I think the Lakers will end up finishing the series, but I don't know how many games. If they can win Game 5, I think they win the series in Game 6. If the Suns win Game 5, I think the Lakers end up winning in 7. And the final game of that night, I take that back. The third game of Sunday was the Brooklyn Nets going to Boston for Game 4 and taking a 3-1 lead. Every single time Kyrie Irving touched the ball, boos from 17,000 people just went all over the place. It was fun to watch, but fan activity is another issue yet again, with a Celtics fan being arrested after throwing a water bottle at Kyrie Irving. I don't know. Maybe they need to go back to having no fans so people don't act out of pocket every single game. But despite that, Harden, Durant, and Kyrie combined for 104 points in that game. It was a dominant game from those three, and the Celtics just couldn't keep up. Is that series over? Yeah, I think that'll be over in Game 5 back in Brooklyn, but we'll see. The last game of Sunday night was the LA Clippers in Dallas, and they ended up winning. So that series is now tied at 2-2. No home team has won a game in that series yet. Is that going to change in Game 5? I don't know. I could see the Mavericks winning, but they didn't play well at all. The Mavericks only had 81 points as a team in a playoff game to go up 3-1. They had the same amount of points as a single player scored. Kobe Bryant had 81 points, and that's the same as the Mavericks had in one playoff game. I don't know. It's not looking good. Porzingis was playing a little bit better, but he wasn't. He didn't show up like they need him to. Luka had a good game, but I don't know. If they can't turn things back to how they played in Game 1 and 2, they're not going to end up winning the series. On to NFL news. There's reports that Julio Jones is not going to be traded for a first-round pick. The Falcons will reportedly accept less. They will accept a second-rounder, maybe even third and fourth rounders. I said this from the start, a first rounder for a team that gets Julio Jones won't mean anything, considering the teams that have called for him. The teams that have reportedly called for him include the Ravens, Titans, 49ers, Seahawks, and Packers. And any of those 5 teams, the first round pick is going to be trash. It'll be a late 20s pick. Depending on the team, it could be a 30 to 32 pick. And that is, there's no point in the Falcons taking just that for Julio Jones. This week, we definitely could see something happen because after June 1st is when the Falcons save cap. The Falcons save salary cap. And we could also see Aaron Rodgers get traded as well. If he gets traded, it will be after June 1st, which again is tomorrow. So those are the 2 big names that we're waiting to see that something might happen this week. I don't anticipate anything happening with Aaron Rodgers quite yet, just because there's so little information on what's really going on in that situation. But with the Julio Jones situation, I could definitely see him being traded by the end of the week, just because the only thing that's stopping the Falcons from trading him right now is, the deficit in salary cap. So moving on to the games for Monday night. The NBA playoff games for Monday night. The 76ers are in D.C. for Game 4, and they will finish the series tonight. I expect this to be a sweep. One of 2 sweeps we'll see. I don't see the Wizards haven't done anything that have made really anybody think, oh yeah, they could definitely get a game. They just haven't played well. For lack of nicer terms, they suck. The late game is the Utah Jazz in Memphis, and I think the Utah Jazz will end up taking a 3-1 lead to head back to Utah with a chance to finish the series in Game 5. They've been playing well, and the Grizzlies, I think they're too young of a team as well. If I'm not mistaken, they are the youngest team by average age in the league. I could be wrong, but they're definitely down. They're definitely younger. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. And that's all for today. Leave a comment if you disagree. Leave suggestions I could put in the next video. Have a good day, and